Good morning, folks. This is Brett and Amy with Broussard Homestead, and today we're going to bring you a video on how to make our elderberry syrup. We're going to be using our dried elderberries that we've gotten from our backyard. You could use the ones that you buy on Amazon or wherever. It's all the same stuff, dried elderberries. We also can use fresh elderberries, which changes the recipe just a little bit. But today we're going to be using dried. And we started out with 3.5 cups of water. We're getting that heated up on the stove. Are we ready to add this yet?
You can.
Okay, this is our half cup of dried elderberries. If we were going to use fresh elderberries,
you'd use 1 cup.
We would use 1 cup. Now over on this burner, what we like to do is while we're cooking the berries over on the other burner is we create kind of this double boiler effect and gently warm our fresh honey, and that's just to help decrystallize it. You can see down here in the bottom there's still some cloudiness. That's where the crystals are. Up on top we're good and warm and liquidy. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the pantry, all completely crystallized. A lot of people think that this honey is no longer good. It's actually perfectly fine. All you're going to do is warm it a little. And I say gently warm it because we don't want to raise the temperature of the honey up over 100 degrees, because then you lose all of the positive allergy fighting qualities of the honey.
Now this is honey from last year.
It's also local honey. This is some that we get from a friend who lives about, I don't know, I guess about 8-10 miles away. The reason we like to use local raw honey is because of those allergy fighting properties.
Okay, there's many different spices and herbs that you can add to your elderberry syrup. These are the ones I choose to use. I've heard of people adding essential oils. I don't know if I would recommend the essential oils because so many people have different reactions to them. So I don't use them. I use turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and clove, which you can use fresh ingredients or you can use the dry ingredients. It really doesn't matter. Okay, I have my seasonings that are pre-measured, put together already, ready to go. And I'm just going to add those in there. There's no right or wrong measurement for your ingredients. You could use anywhere from a half tablespoon to a tablespoon. It all depends on your taste and what you're looking for. But research your herbs and spices and the benefits that they add, and then add whichever ones that you want to add. But I just add them into the boiling liquid. And we're gonna simmer this for about 30 minutes. You just want to make sure all of your spices and things like that are dissolved. All right, now that the elderberries have simmered for 30 minutes, we're gonna take them off the heat and we run them through a strainer. Oh, I put mine over a glass bowl. And I do a small amount at a time because I'm using a smaller strainer. I have a bigger one, but this time, since I'm doing a small batch, I'm gonna use the small strainer. And I just use the a pretty sturdy silicone spatula, and I'm gonna press the berries to basically squeeze out all the juice from the pulp that's left. A lot of times you'll notice that when you're pressing these berries like this, you're gonna get some of the pulp that goes through the strainer. I'm just going to restrain it again a couple of times to make sure I get everything. You want to end up with 3 cups of liquid. If you don't, it's okay. You can add hot water and bring it back up to the 3-cup level. That's what I did. I was about a cup short. So you lose the liquid when you're boiling it. So it's perfectly fine to add hot water, because that's what evaporated out of it anyway. Now we're gonna let it cool. We want to let it cool down to about 100 degrees. I use a meat thermometer and just kind of stir it around. We don't want to add the honey until after it's down to at least 100 degrees. You want the honey to dissolve, but you don't want to kill the properties in the honey. I only strained it once, so I'm gonna restrain all of this. You see that goo that gets, a lot of that is from mashing the berries. Some people are okay with leaving some of this pulp in there. Some people don't like it. I rinse my strainer between each time that I run it through, just to get the excess pulp out of there. So I'm making sure to strain everything out. I like to strain out all the pulp and seeds and everything and make sure there's nothing in there, because the pulp and seeds, I've heard, can cause you to have an upset stomach. So I definitely try to get all that out of there. Okay, now that we've strained it all the way through, we're up to three cups of liquid. We've got all the pulp strained out. Our temperature is at about 96.5, so that's perfect range. We're gonna go ahead and add in 1 cup of honey. And our honey was finished decrystallizing on the stove about the same time as the syrup was finished cooking. So that's why we try to do it all at the same time. But I'm just gonna add in my honey. Backwards. I'm left-handed, so I do everything backwards. You can dip the jar down into the warm liquid, and it'll help dissolve the honey, the excess honey, off of the inside of the measuring jar. Everything's a jar today. Then we're gonna just mix in the honey and make sure it's completely incorporated. Okay, now that we're finished incorporating the honey into this, what is now the syrup, it's not very thick. Most people think of it as like a pancake syrup, but it's not. It's more of a medicinal syrup. I guess you could pour it over pancakes if you really wanted to. We're gonna have 2 clean, sterile pint jars. I try not to put my hands on the tops of the rims. We've got our lids and rings ready, and we've got our canning funnel. You can use a ladle to ladle it in there, or you can do it like I do. I have a that's why I use the glass measuring cup, because it pours really easily. And we're just gonna pour this straight into our jars. You may have a little left over, that's okay. Make sure to clean it off your counter or clothing, hands, or anything like that. It will stain. You can leave as little or as much headspace as you want. We're not canning these. I was told not to can them because again, it will heat up and kill the properties in your honey. So I'm going to take just a regular paper towel and some distilled white vinegar, and I wipe the top edges of my jars just to make sure there's no syrup that gets stuck on the jar in between the seal. And we put the lids and rings on, just hand tight. And this one's not cooperating. Okay. And we're finished. We're gonna let these finish cooling all the way. And they may seal, they may not, just because the heat of them. But these are to be kept in the refrigerator. They'll last in the refrigerator for probably 6 to 8 months. We've had ours in our refrigerator for at least 6 months, and it's still going great. We all took a dose of it this morning. We each take about a tablespoon or two in the morning. I use these small, I call them shot glasses. They're actually not. I think they're salad dressing cups. So, but I have 4 of them, and there's 4 of us here. So we just fill them up about halfway with the elderberry syrup, and I line them up on the counter, and everybody takes their elderberry in the morning. And it prevents, it helps with allergies. It helps to prevent the flu virus. We took it every day religiously through the winter, this past winter, because we had a really bad flu season. And thank God none of us got the flu. So very blessed there. All right, so we're finished. That's how we make elderberry syrup. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments.
Thanks again for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos.